The year is 1119. Jerusalem stands as a fragile Christian outpost, surrounded by powerful enemies. Most crusaders have gone home, leaving a skeleton force to defend a hostile land. Lawlessness reigns beyond the walls. Bandits and raiders prey on travelers. Kings like Baldwin II seems Salkersare disses dans. See Dalbers. Resources. Within cease, the euphoria of conquest is gone, replaced by daily struggle. Something must change if Jerusalem is to endure. For devout Christians, pilgrimage to the Holy Land is the ultimate act of faith, but the journey is deadly. Pilgrims land at ports like Jaffa or Acre, only to face the most dangerous stretch, the road to Jerusalem. This 40-mile route through the Judean hills is infamous for ambushes. Organized bands of brigands prey on the steady stream of unarmed pilgrims. Robbery, kidnapping, and murder are common. The stories that reach Europe are horrifying. In 1119, hundreds of pilgrims are massacred on the road to the River Jordan. The massacre shocks the kingdom and exposes the authorities' inability to protect travelers. The dream of a safe pilgrimage is turning into a nightmare. Pilgrims travel in groups, but even that offers little safety. They are merchants, peasants, and priests, carrying crosses, not swords. Local lords try to provide escorts, but their forces are stretched thin. The road to Jerusalem, the spiritual heart of the crusade, has become a gauntlet of fear. Every shadow hides danger, every bend could mean death. The promise of the Holy Land is broken on this treacherous path. The kingdom's failure to protect pilgrims threatens its very purpose. The crisis demands a new answer. The safety of the faithful is at stake. The future of the Crusader states depends on restoring security. A radical solution is needed. The slaughter of pilgrims is a crisis of faith and security. In 1119, a French nobleman, Hugh of Paynes, and a handful of knights step forward with a radical idea. They propose a new religious order, knights who are also monks, dedicated to protecting pilgrims. This merges two worlds, warrior and monk, into a single, disciplined brotherhood. They present their plan to King Baldwin II and the Patriarch of Jerusalem. Their mission: defend the roads, not for land or glory, but for God. King Baldwin, desperate for a solution, gives them his support and a headquarters in Jerusalem. The order begins with just 9 knights, but their purpose is clear. They vow to live by religious discipline while performing military duty. This is a revolutionary concept, knighthood as a holy calling. The new order is a standing army of faith, answering only to God and their master. They are not seeking wealth or titles, their cause is spiritual. The kingdom's survival may depend on their success. The creation of this order marks a turning point in the history of the Holy Land. A new chapter is about to begin. The monk knight is born out of necessity and devotion. Their mission is clear: protect the pilgrims, defend the faith. The rulers of Jerusalem hope this brotherhood will succeed where others have failed. The fate of the kingdom may rest on their shoulders. The experiment begins with faith, courage, and a handful of swords. The world is about to meet a new kind of knight. To join this brotherhood, a knight must renounce his old life. He takes vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, radical promises for a nobleman. The vow of poverty means surrendering all personal wealth. Everything belongs to the order. They fight not for land or loot, but for God. Their poverty is a symbol of pure intentions and spiritual focus. The vow of chastity forbids marriage and heirs. Their devotion is to God and the mission. They are married to their cause, free from worldly distractions. The vow of obedience demands absolute loyalty to the order's master. Knights give up their will, following orders without question. This discipline transforms individual warriors into a cohesive fighting unit. The vows create a new kind of soldier, the monk knight. Their lives are defined by sacrifice and service. The order's strength comes from unity and shared purpose. These vows set them apart from other knights. Their commitment is total: body, mind, and soul. The brotherhood is forged in faith and discipline. The monk knight is a weapon of both spirit and steel. Through these vows, the order becomes a force unlike any other. The new order calls itself the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ. Their name reflects their poverty, brotherhood, and sacred mission. They are poor by choice, united as warriors, and serve Christ above all. Their poverty is real. Legend says 2 knights share a single horse. This image becomes their symbol. 2 men on one mount, immortalized on their seal. Their humility and sacrifice set them apart from wealthy nobles. The order's poverty is also brilliant branding, inspiring support and donations. People see their dedication and selflessness. They are not just armed men seeking power, they are holy warriors. Their reputation attracts recruits and patrons. Their poverty becomes the foundation of future wealth. The name Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ defines their ethos. They are a military force rooted in spiritual commitment. Their monastery is the battlefield. Their strength is faith and steel. This unique blend of piety and martial skill makes them formidable. The world is beginning to take notice. King Baldwin II gives the order a home, a wing of the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount. Crusaders believe this is the site of Solomon's Temple, one of the holiest places on earth. The knights become guardians of this sacred space, their identity forever linked to it. From this location, they acquire a new name, the Knights Templar. The full title, the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon. Living on the Temple Mount elevates their status and prestige. They are no longer just a roadside patrol. They are protectors of the spiritual heart of Jerusalem. Their quarters are part of a holy site, giving them immense authority. The name Templar is powerful, resonating with history and sanctity. Their association with the Temple of Solomon is a masterstroke of identity. It provides a legendary origin and a name known across Christendom. From this base, the Templars begin to build their legend. Their journey from poor knights to a global force has begun. The Temple Mount is both their home and their symbol. The Knights Templar are ready to make history. With a name, headquarters, and royal backing, the Templars focus on their mission, making the roads safe. They build forts and watchtowers along dangerous routes, especially from Jaffa to Jerusalem. Their presence changes the atmosphere. Bandits now face professional battle-hardened warriors. Templars patrol in armed groups, escorting pilgrims and deterring attackers. Their white mantles and red crosses become symbols of hope and warning. Life on patrol is harsh. Long hours, little comfort, constant danger. They sleep in armor, always ready for ambush. Their courage and discipline make them a formidable deterrent. The Templars are not seeking glory. Their war is one of daily vigilance. Slowly, the roads become safer, and attacks decrease. News spreads to Europe. Holy Knights now protect the pilgrim way. More pilgrims arrive, confident in Templar protection. The order is fulfilling its promise. Through sacrifice and resolve, they lay the foundation for their legendary reputation. The dream of a safe pilgrimage is becoming reality. The Templars are proving their worth. The Templars are more than a military unit. They are a true brotherhood. Shared vows and mission create bonds stronger than blood. They live, pray, fight, and often die together. In a foreign land, their only family is each other. Loyalty and unity are their greatest strengths. Their lives follow a strict routine of prayer and military training. Faith gives them courage, discipline gives them skill. They train relentlessly in weapons and tactics. On the battlefield, they fight as a single, disciplined unit. The Templar rule forbids retreat except in dire circumstances. Their reputation for tenacity is legendary. Enemies know a Templar will fight to the last man. Their white mantles and red crosses symbolize unity and purpose. This is not an army of individuals, but a brotherhood fighting for a cause. Their strength comes from faith, trust, and the unbreakable bond of holy fraternity. In their first decade, the Templars prove their worth, pacifying roads and protecting pilgrims. Their success is recognized at the Council of Troyes in 1129. The Pope formally endorses the order. Bernard of Clairvaux's treatise, in praise of the new knighthood, spreads their fame across Europe. Donations pour in. The order grows rapidly. They establish commanderies throughout Europe, recruiting men and managing estates. The Templars become an elite fighting force and a major international organization. Their discipline and courage make them the backbone of the Crusader state's military. They garrison castles, defend frontiers, and expand their mission. Their reputation for integrity leads them into finance, creating an early form of banking for pilgrims. In a few years, they grow from 9 poor knights to a powerful institution. They are warriors, monks, and bankers, dedicated to faith and service. Their story is one of dedication and success, born from chaos and danger. The Templars have met the challenge of a kingdom in peril. Through faith, brotherhood, and steel, they have become legends, but their epic and ultimately tragic story is only just beginning. In the early 12th century, the Knights Templar emerged to protect Christian pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem, newly captured by the First Crusade. The journey was dangerous. Bandits and hostile forces threatened travelers at every turn. Hugues de Pons, a French knight, and 8 companions pledged to defend the faithful, forming a new brotherhood of warrior monks. King Baldwin II gave them quarters on the Temple Mount, and they became known as the Templars. Their seal, 2 knights sharing a horse, symbolized their poverty and unity. Seeking papal approval, they aimed to grow from humble beginnings into a powerful order. The Templars' mission was clear: to defend, to serve, and to inspire. The Knights Templar, warrior monks, defenders of the faith, and icons of an era. Hugues de Pons's mission to Europe was a turning point. He presented the Templars as the perfect fusion of piety and martial skill, capturing the imagination of both the public and the powerful. The Church, eager to channel knightly violence for holy purposes, saw the Templars as a permanent crusading force. At the Council of Troyes in 1129, Hugues, with the support of Bernard of Clairvaux, secured official recognition for the order. Bernard's treatise, in praise of the new knighthood, painted the Templars as selfless warriors for Christ. The council granted them a rule of life, establishing discipline and hierarchy. With papal approval, the Templars became a legitimate religious and military order. Their fortunes soared as they gained the Church's backing. In 1139, Pope Innocent II issued a papal bull placing the Templars under direct papal protection. They were exempt from local laws and taxes, answering only to the Pope. This extraordinary privilege gave them unprecedented freedom and power. They could build churches, collect tithes, and move freely across borders. The Templars became a sovereign power within Christendom. Their independence and authority set them apart from all other orders. The Church's seal of approval transformed the Templars from a small band into an international force. Their mission was now backed by the might of the papacy. The Templars' rise was unstoppable, and their influence would soon be felt across Europe and the Holy Land. With the Church behind them, the Templars were ready to fulfill their destiny. Their journey from humble protectors to legendary warriors had truly begun. In the Holy Land, the Templars quickly became the elite fighting force of the Crusader states. Their relentless training and strict discipline set them apart from feudal armies. Templars fought as a single, cohesive unit. Retreating without orders was unthinkable. Their reputation for courage and reliability grew with every battle. The Templar banner, the black and white Beauséant, became a symbol of resolve. Their battle cry, "God wills it," echoed across the Levant. At the Battle of Montgisard in 1177, a small Templar-led charge shattered Saladin's bodyguard, turning the tide for the Crusaders. Their bravery at Montgisard cemented their legend as God's warriors. The Templars paid dearly for their reputation. Many died in battle, choosing martyrdom over surrender. After the defeat at Hattin in 1187, captured Templars refused to convert and were executed. Their willingness to sacrifice everything for their faith inspired awe and respect. The Templars became the unshakable front line in the war for the Holy Land. Their discipline and devotion made them the ultimate defenders of the cross. Stories of their courage spread throughout Christendom. The Templars' legend grew with every sacrifice. They were more than soldiers, they were symbols of unwavering faith. Their legacy in the Holy Land was written in blood and valor. The Templars were not just brave, they were tactical innovators. A Templar knight, clad in chainmail and mounted on a powerful warhorse, was the medieval equivalent of a tank. Their signature tactic, a tightly coordinated cavalry charge, delivered with devastating force. Discipline was everything. They advanced as one, breaking into a gallop at the commander's signal. The impact could shatter enemy lines and decide battles. The order's structure supported this efficiency. Knights, sergeants, chaplains, and craftsmen all played vital roles. Sergeants, though lower in status, were professional soldiers who fought as cavalry and infantry. Chaplains tended to spiritual needs, while craftsmen managed logistics. This integrated system made the Templar war machine self-sufficient. The Templars also garrisoned key castles, projecting power and controlling territory. Fortresses like Chastel Blanc and Château Pellerin anchored their presence in the region. These castles were more than military bases. They were centers of administration and power. The Templars became the backbone of the Crusader state's defense. Without them, Outremer would have fallen much sooner. Their military innovation and organization set them apart as the elite shock troops of the medieval world. The Templars' fame and papal backing sparked a flood of donations across Europe. People unable to join the crusade gave land, money, and property to the order. Kings, nobles, and commoners alike contributed, seeking spiritual merit. The Templars became one of the largest landowners in Christendom. They established commanderies, local centers managing their vast estates and businesses. These commanderies produced enormous profits from agriculture and trade. All revenue funded the war effort in the East. The Templars' network stretched from England to Spain, France to the German lands. Their wealth paid for weapons, horses, and the construction of mighty castles. The vow of poverty applied to individual knights, but the order itself became fabulously wealthy. Their financial engine powered their military machine. The Templars' corporate wealth was immense, fueling their rise to power. Their resources made them a force unlike any other in medieval Europe. With their wealth, the Templars became master builders. In the Holy Land they constructed cutting-edge castles like Safed and Château Pellerin, fortresses designed to withstand any siege. These strongholds anchored the defense of the Crusader states, controlling key routes and ports. Their construction required vast resources and organizational skill. In Europe, the Templars built thousands of commanderies and distinctive round churches, like London's Temple Church. These buildings served as hubs for their agricultural, financial, and recruitment activities. Most revolutionary was their creation of an international banking system. Pilgrims could deposit money in Europe and withdraw it in the Holy Land, thanks to Templar letters of credit. This system made travel safer and established the Templars as the most reliable financial institution of the age. Their building and banking innovations left a lasting mark on both East and West. The Templars' visual identity was iconic. Knights wore white mantles, symbolizing purity and chastity, a stark contrast to the colorful garb of other knights. After the Second Crusade, they added a red cross over the heart, representing Christ's blood and their own willingness to die for their faith. The white mantle and red cross became one of the Middle Ages' most recognizable images. For allies, it was a symbol of elite support. For enemies, a sign of relentless opposition. Sergeants wore black or brown mantles, but all bore the red cross, uniting them in purpose. The uniform reinforced the order's strict hierarchy and shared mission. The Templar cross was a psychological weapon, inspiring fear and respect. Their attire embodied the dual nature of monk and warrior. Whether knight or sergeant, the uniform was a constant reminder of their vows. The Templars' image became a symbol of faith, sacrifice, and discipline. Their presence was felt on every battlefield and in every town across Christendom. The Templars' influence extended far beyond the battlefield. Their wealth and network made them the bankers of Christendom, trusted by kings, popes, and nobles. The Paris treasury even served as the royal treasury of France. They managed estates, collected taxes, and stored valuables for clients across Europe. Their commanderies were secure depositories and financial hubs. The Templars developed advanced accounting and logistics, operating like a multinational corporation. Their financial power gave them immense political influence. Templar leaders advised kings and negotiated with rulers across Europe and the Middle East. Their loyalty to the Pope gave them independence that unsettled monarchs. The Templars were more than soldiers. They were statesmen, bankers, and power brokers. Their unique combination of military, financial, and political strength made them a force apart. But their success bred jealousy and suspicion, setting the stage for future conflict. The Knights Templar rose from humble beginnings to become a medieval powerhouse. Their blend of faith, discipline, and innovation shaped the High Middle Ages. For nearly 2 centuries, they were the backbone of the Crusader states and the shock troops of Christendom. Their financial network laid the groundwork for modern banking. Templar castles and churches still stand as monuments to their influence. They were more than warrior monks. They were diplomats, landowners, and pioneers. Their white mantles and red crosses became symbols of an era. The Templar story is one of piety, power, and pragmatism. Their legacy endures inspiring fascination and debate to this day. The shadow of the Templars still stretches across history, a testament to their extraordinary rise. Imagine a time of epic conflict, where the thunder of hooves and the clash of steel echoed across the ancient world. Swords clashed, shields were raised, and the fate of kingdoms hung in the balance. The Holy Land, a crossroads of faith and power, became the stage for one of history's most dramatic struggles. For nearly 2 centuries, Christian Europe launched wave after wave of crusades, determined to reclaim Jerusalem and the sacred sites of the Holy Land from Muslim rule. Armies marched thousands of miles, driven by faith, ambition, and the promise of eternal salvation. Out of this chaos, a new order arose, the Knights Templar. They were unlike any warriors the world had seen before, part monk, part soldier, bound by strict codes and unwavering loyalty. These elite fighters became legends in their own time, feared by their enemies and revered by their allies. The Templars took solemn vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, dedicating their lives not to personal glory, but to a higher calling. In candlelit chapels, they prayed for strength and guidance, seeking to protect Christian pilgrims making the perilous journey to Jerusalem. Instantly recognizable by their white mantles, emblazoned with a bold red cross, the Templars became the medieval world's special forces. On horseback, they cut imposing figures, symbols of both faith and fear on the battlefield. Their headquarters stood atop the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, a site sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. From this legendary stronghold, the Templars planned their campaigns and guarded the heart of Christendom. Renowned for their courage and military skill, the Templars were often the first to charge into battle and the last to retreat. Their discipline and fearlessness inspired awe, and their presence could turn the tide of war. But the Templars were more than just warriors. They were innovators, creating the world's first international banking system. Their network of castles and commanderies stretched across Europe and the Middle East, allowing them to move money and information with unprecedented speed and security. Pilgrims could deposit gold or valuables in Europe and withdraw them safely in Jerusalem, protected from bandits and thieves. This ingenious system made the Templars not only powerful, but also incredibly wealthy, trusted by kings and commoners alike. This unique combination of military might and financial genius transformed the Templars into an international superpower. They answered only to the Pope, wielding influence that stretched from royal courts to the farthest frontiers of Christendom. For almost 2 centuries, the Knights Templar were the heroes of Christendom, funding wars, advising kings, and protecting the faithful. Their reputation for honor and bravery was unmatched, and their legacy shaped the medieval world. But as history has shown, the higher you climb, the further you have to fall. Power breeds envy, and the Templars' wealth and influence made them dangerous enemies. For the Knights Templar, the end would come swiftly and brutally. Betrayed, arrested, and shrouded in mystery, their downfall remains one of the most dramatic and enigmatic chapters in history. By the late 13th century, the Crusader dream was dying. The fall of Acre in 1291 marked the end of Christian strongholds in the Holy Land. The Templars, soldiers without a war, retreated to Cyprus. Their primary mission was now impossible. Back in Europe, public opinion shifted. The loss of the Holy Land was devastating, and the Templars became scapegoats. Their immense wealth, once admired, now sparked suspicion and envy. As international bankers, they were seen more as moneylenders than holy warriors. Their secrecy fueled rumors, making them look suspicious. The Templars were a state within a state, unsettling to monarchs trying to centralize power. Their purpose was gone, but their power and wealth remained, creating a dangerous mix of jealousy and ambition. The stage was set for confrontation, and the Templars, blinded by their own power, didn't see it coming. Enter King Philip IV of France, a monarch whose ambitions were as grand as the challenges he faced. His reign was marked by a relentless drive to consolidate power and bring the nobility and clergy firmly under royal control. Philip envisioned a France where the king's word was law, and the monarchy stood unchallenged at the center of national life. But this vision came at a steep price. Years of war, lavish court expenses, and costly political maneuvers had left the royal coffers dangerously empty. Deeply in debt, Philip's largest creditor was the powerful Knights Templar, whose Paris temple had become the de facto royal treasury, safeguarding the wealth of the crown. The Templars were not just bankers, they were an elite military order respected and feared across Europe. To Philip, they represented both a threat to his authority and a tantalizing source of untapped riches. If he could eliminate the Templars, he would not only erase his debts, but also seize their vast assets, strengthening his grip on the kingdom. Yet, the question remained, how could he possibly bring down such a wealthy and influential organization without provoking outrage or rebellion? Philip needed a justification that would turn public opinion and the church against the Templars. He required a scandal so shocking that no one would dare defend them. With his cunning chief minister, Guillaume de Nogaret, Philip began to orchestrate a campaign of dark rumors and sinister accusations, carefully planting seeds of suspicion. The plan was to accuse the Templars of heresy, an unthinkable crime in the deeply religious 14th century, one that would justify their destruction in the eyes of both the church and the people. Philip and de Nogaret set about gathering so-called evidence, relying on the testimonies of disgruntled former Templars and fabricating charges through intimidation and torture. Their case was built on lies, fear, and coerced confessions. As the king's agents moved in secret, Philip prepared a coordinated, lightning-fast strike to catch the unsuspecting knights off guard, setting the stage for one of the most dramatic betrayals in medieval history. Philip's agents concocted shocking charges against the Templars, attacking their faith and morality. They claimed the knights denied Christ during secret ceremonies, a direct inversion of their public image. Accusations included worshipping a mysterious idol, Baphomet, and institutionalized homosexuality. These stories, spread by the king's agents, poisoned public opinion against the knights. The accusations were a mix of folklore, misunderstandings, and pure invention. But in a climate of suspicion and fear, these sensational stories took root. Philip didn't need the charges to be true, he just needed people to believe them. The trap was set, and all that was left was to spring it. On Friday, the 13th of October, 1307, King Philip unleashed his plan. His agents arrested every Templar in France, seizing their property and assets. The operation was a masterpiece of coordination, catching the knights by surprise. In Paris, Grand Master Jacques de Molay was arrested. Betrayed by the king, thousands of Templars were in chains, their network shattered in a single morning. Philip launched a propaganda campaign, painting the Templars as monsters. The public, primed with rumors, was largely convinced. The captured knights were isolated at the mercy of Philip's inquisitors. The king's goal was to force them to admit their guilt, using any means necessary. The imprisoned Templars faced brutal torture to extract confessions. Under relentless agony, many knights broke, admitting to false charges. The confession of Grand Master Jacques de Molay was Philip's greatest prize. He confessed to some charges, hoping to save his order, but it was a miscalculation. Philip used these coerced confessions to present a seemingly ironclad case. The king's propaganda machine publicized the admissions, tarnishing the Templars' reputation. They were no longer seen as brave warriors, but as heretics exposed. The arrests and confessions put Pope Clement V in an impossible position. Initially outraged, he demanded the knights be turned over to church custody, but as a Frenchman, he was vulnerable to Philip's pressure. Reluctantly, Clement issued a papal bull ordering the arrest of Templars across Europe. The Pope launched his own inquiry, hoping for a fair trial. Many knights recanted their confessions, showing their tortured bodies as proof. Jacques de Molay publicly retracted his confession, proclaiming the order's innocence, but Philip declared any knight who recanted a relapsed heretic punishable by death. In May 1310, 54 Templars were burned alive, silencing the defense. The Pope's inquiry was dead in the water. With opposition crushed, the Templars' fate was sealed. Pope Clement convened the Council of Vienne in 1312 to decide the order's future. Unable to secure a conviction, Clement dissolved the Knights Templar. Their wealth was transferred to the Knights Hospitaller, but Philip kept much for himself. The Templar order was wiped from existence. In 1314, Jacques de Molay and Geoffroy de Charnay were sentenced to life in prison. De Molay retracted his confession, proclaiming innocence. An enraged Philip ordered their execution as relapsed heretics. As flames rose, legend says de Molay cursed Philip and Clement. Both died within a year, fueling belief in the Grand Master's curse. The violent end of the Knights Templar left a void filled with myth and legend. Their sudden downfall shocked the medieval world, and in the centuries that followed, their story only grew more mysterious and captivating. People couldn't believe such a powerful organization could simply vanish overnight. Whispers spread through towns and cities as ordinary folk and nobles alike speculated about what really happened to the Templars. Theories emerged about their hidden treasure and secrets. Some believed the Templars had spirited away vast riches, gold, and sacred relics, hiding them from their enemies. Some say they discovered something beneath the Temple of Solomon, an artifact or knowledge so powerful it threatened the very foundations of the church and monarchy. Others claim they guarded the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant, becoming eternal protectors of Christianity's greatest mysteries. The Templar fleet's disappearance adds to the mystery. Some say their ships slipped away under cover of darkness, carrying secrets to distant lands. Did they sail to Scotland, seeking refuge among allies, or even cross the Atlantic long before Columbus, leaving clues in far-off places? Today, the Knights Templar are more famous than ever. Their symbols and stories draw millions of visitors to ancient sites, and their legacy is studied and debated by historians and enthusiasts alike. They star in books, films, and video games, blending history, conspiracy, and adventure. The Templars have become icons of mystery, inspiring countless works of fiction and sparking the imagination of new generations. Their story is a cautionary tale of power, wealth, and secrecy, a reminder of how quickly fortunes can change and how legends are born from the ashes of the past. While the historical order was destroyed, the idea of the Templars lives on, echoing through the ruins and in the stories we tell. They represent the ultimate secret society, keepers of lost treasures and forbidden knowledge, forever linked to the unknown. As long as there are mysteries to solve and secrets to uncover, the ghosts of the warrior monks will continue to ride, haunting our imaginations and fueling the legends that refuse to die. Imagine an organization so powerful and wealthy, it answered only to the Pope and spanned from the Holy Land to Scotland. The Knights Templar were more than just a military order. They were a force that shaped the very fabric of medieval Europe, their influence stretching across borders and kingdoms. For nearly 2 centuries, the Knights Templar were the elite force of medieval Europe, warriors, bankers, and monks, all in one. They protected pilgrims, fought in the crusades, and managed a network of castles and treasuries that made them indispensable to kings and popes alike. Their white mantles and red crosses were symbols of bravery and piety, and their influence was unmatched. To many, they were living legends, men who embodied the ideals of faith, discipline, and sacrifice. But when the Crusader states fell, their purpose faded, leaving them as a wealthy army with no war to fight. Their vast resources and independence began to make rulers uneasy, and whispers of envy and suspicion grew louder in royal courts. King Philip IV of France, deep in debt, saw the Templars not as holy men, but as a threat and a treasure trove. He envied their riches and feared their loyalty to the Pope over any king. In a swift, calculated move, Philip pressured Pope Clement V to disband the order. The king's campaign was ruthless, using rumors and accusations to turn public opinion against the Templars. The papal bull Vox in Excelso dissolved the Templars, citing scandal rather than proof. The world watched as an order once celebrated for its virtue was condemned by the very church it served. Thousands of knights were suddenly outlaws, their legacy tainted overnight. Many were imprisoned, tortured, or executed, their lives and reputations destroyed in a matter of months. Yet the end of the Templars was just the beginning of their legend. Their sudden disappearance left a void filled with rumors, myths, and conspiracy theories that have lasted for centuries. Their sudden fall transformed them from a powerful institution into a mystery that still captivates us. Stories of hidden treasures, secret rituals, and lost knowledge continue to spark the imagination of historians and adventurers alike. The Templars' story is a warning. Even the mightiest can fall, and sometimes, that's when the real story begins. Their fate became a symbol of how quickly fortunes can change, and how power can vanish in the blink of an eye. Their rise and fall would echo through history, sparking questions and legends that endure to this day. The Templars became more than men. They became myth, woven into the fabric of Western culture. How could such power vanish so quickly? What forces were truly at work behind their downfall? And what secrets did they take with them? The answers remain hidden, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to look deeper. The Templars' downfall began on a day that would become infamous, Friday, October 13, 1307. At dawn, King Philip's men raided every Templar stronghold in France, arresting knights in a single stunning sweep. The Grand Master Jacques de Molay was caught completely off guard, having just attended a royal funeral. The charges were shocking: heresy, blasphemy, idolatry, and corruption. Philip accused them of spitting on the cross, worshipping a mysterious head called Baphomet. These sensational claims were designed to turn public opinion and justify the king's actions, but the real motive was simple: money and power. Philip was broke, the Templars were rich. By destroying them, he could erase his debts and seize their assets. The ultimate heist, disguised as holy justice. And so, the Templars' nightmare began. Imprisoned, the Templars faced brutal torture to extract confessions. Under agony, many admitted to whatever their captors demanded, spitting on the cross, denying Christ, worshipping Baphomet. No such idol was ever found. Most historians believe it was a fabrication. Even Grand Master de Molay confessed under duress, a propaganda victory for Philip. Yet, when brought before papal commissioners, many knights, including de Molay, bravely recanted, insisting on their innocence. This defiance was a death sentence. Pope Clement V, caught between Philip's pressure and his own authority, tried to intervene but ultimately relented. The trials continued, driven by politics, not truth. The Templars' fate was sealed not by evidence, but by royal ambition. Their confessions, extracted by torture, became the justification for their destruction. The real crime was their wealth and independence. The Templar trials dragged on for years, shrouded in secrecy and fear, but the outcome was never truly in doubt. From the very beginning, the fate of the Knights Templar seemed sealed by forces far greater than justice. In France, torture and forced confessions dominated the proceedings. Men were broken in dark dungeons, their words twisted to fit the king's narrative. Elsewhere, like England and Spain, the story was different. Most knights were acquitted or quietly absorbed into other orders, their reputations largely intact, as local rulers resisted the pressure from France. The inconsistency revealed the truth. This was Philip's vendetta, not a genuine purge of heresy. The king's motives were rooted in debt, power, and a desire to control the church's wealth. At the Council of Vienne in 1312, Pope Clement V faced a divided church, a demanding king, and the weight of Europe's expectations. The council was tense, with bishops and nobles debating the fate of the Templars. The result was Vox in Excelso, a papal decree that dissolved the Templars, but notably did not convict them of heresy. Their guilt was never truly proven. Their lands and immense wealth were officially transferred to the Knights Hospitaller, another powerful order, in an attempt to maintain stability and appease the church. But monarchs like Philip took their share, seizing treasures and properties for themselves, enriching their coffers at the Templars' expense. The Templars were erased from history, their name blackened and synonymous with betrayal. Records were destroyed, and their legacy nearly vanished. The king got his riches, the Pope saved face, and the knights, once heroes of Christendom, were left to their fate, scattered and disgraced. The order's sudden end left Europe stunned and uncertain, as rumors and legends began to swirl about the Templar secrets. Their power, once vast and unchallenged, vanished with a single signature, an empire undone by ink and ambition. But their legend was just beginning. Whispers of hidden treasures, secret rites, and lost knowledge would echo for centuries. The Templars became a cautionary tale of power, greed, and political betrayal, a story retold in every age, and the world would never forget them, as their memory endures in stone, story, and shadow. The Templars' official end didn't mean the end for the knights themselves. Even as their order was dissolved, the men who once wore the Red Cross found themselves scattered across Europe, forced to adapt to a world that now saw them as outcasts or fugitives. In France, those who recanted confessions were burned as heretics, a brutal warning to others. The flames that consumed them were meant to erase the Templar legacy, but instead, they ignited a legend that would burn for centuries. The most famous execution came in 1314. Jacques de Molay and Geoffroy de Charnay, refusing to admit guilt, were burned at the stake before a crowd. Their final words, spoken through the smoke, declared their innocence and defiance. Legend says, De Molay cursed both king and pope, and both died within a year, fueling the Templar myth. This so-called curse became a rallying cry for those who believed the Templars had been wronged, and it added a supernatural edge to their story. Outside France, many knights survived. Some fled into exile, vanishing into distant lands or seeking refuge with sympathetic rulers. Their skills and secrets traveled with them, quietly shaping the world in unexpected ways. In Portugal, the Templars were simply renamed the Order of Christ, continuing their work under a new banner. Here, their traditions and knowledge endured, hidden in plain sight. Vasco da Gama would later sail under their cross, carrying the Templar spirit into the Age of Discovery and beyond, as their influence reached new continents. In Scotland, Templars are rumored to have vanished into the local population, sparking tales of their role at Bannockburn. Some say their knowledge helped turn the tide of battle, while others believe they simply faded into legend. The Templar story became a blend of martyrdom, survival, and legend. Their memory was kept alive in secret societies, whispered about in taverns, and immortalized in art and song. Their executions inspired awe and fear, but their disappearance inspired endless speculation. People wondered if the Templars had truly vanished, or if they were simply waiting for the right moment to return. The order was gone, but the mystery had only grown. Empty castles and ruined monasteries became silent witnesses to a vanished brotherhood. Their fate became a legend of fire, flight, and fading away. The world would never forget the Templars, even as their true story slipped into the shadows of history. The Templars' end was not an erasure, but a transformation. Their ideals, symbols, and mysteries lived on, evolving with each retelling. Their story would haunt Europe for centuries, echoing through ruined halls and misty legends, forever blurring the line between history and myth. The greatest Templar mystery? Their treasure. When Philip's men raided the Paris temple, the gold and jewels were gone. Legend says the night before the arrests, knights spirited the treasure away, possibly to the port of La Rochelle. The Templar fleet vanished at the same time, fueling theories of escape to Scotland, Portugal, or even across the Atlantic. Was the treasure gold, or something more? Some believe it was holy relics or secret knowledge from the Holy Land. The search for Templar treasure has obsessed generations, from Rosslyn Chapel to Oak Island. No one has found it, but the allure remains. The missing fortune is more than gold. It's a symbol of the Templar enigma. Their lost wealth keeps the legend alive. The hunt continues, centuries later. Some say the Templars' true treasure was secret knowledge, not gold. Their years on Jerusalem's Temple Mount sparked theories they found lost gospels, forbidden histories, or scientific secrets. If they possessed truths that threatened the church, it would explain their destruction. The Holy Grail, Christ's cup, became forever linked to the Templars in legend and literature. Were they its secret guardians? The Shroud of Turin, too, is tied to Templar lore, possibly the mysterious Baphomet they were accused of worshipping. The first known owner of the shroud was a Templar's relative. These relics, real or imagined, fuel the idea that the Templars guarded secrets that could shake the world. Their legend is built on the possibility of hidden truths, and that's why their story endures. The Templars' destruction only amplified their legend. Their sudden disappearance left a void filled by myth, conspiracy, and secret societies. In the 18th century, Freemasons and others claimed Templar heritage, casting them as rebels against tyranny. The Templar cross became a symbol of hidden knowledge and resistance. Their story was reimagined as a foundation myth for secret brotherhoods. Modern pop culture, books, films, games, turned the Templars into guardians of the Grail, keepers of Christ's bloodline, and masterminds of global conspiracies. The historical knights became symbols of mystery and rebellion. Their myth grew larger than their history. The Templars became the ultimate secret society, real or imagined. Their legend is now woven into the fabric of our culture. Today, the Templars are both history and legend. Their rise and fall warn of the dangers of power and greed, but their myth of lost treasure, secret knowledge, and hidden brotherhoods captures our imagination. The facts are tantalizing enough to make the legend seem possible. Their treasure vanished. Their fleet disappeared, and their Grand Master's curse seemed to come true. These mysteries keep the Templar story alive, They are a living legend, a 700-year-old mystery. Their ghosts still haunt our stories, our games, our dreams. The hunt for their secrets continues. And as long as there are mysteries to solve, the Templar legend will endure.